Hello, hello, family. We're back for another episode of O to Be Whole, O to Be Whole with Camille Young. So glad you're here joining me for us to have another good discussion talking about love and relationships on today. Talking about love and relationships. Thank you for subscribing, my holy rollers. Thank you for being here for another episode. My new viewers, hi, great to meet you. Glad to have you with us on today. And hopefully you too will subscribe. You will like and share. Be sure to put some comments in that comment section because I love interacting with you all. As well as if you would like some support, some coaching support, I do have my certification and I would love to connect with you. You can reach out to me at ohtobewhole@gmail.com. That's again, ohtobewhole, ohtobewhole@gmail.com. All righty, y'all, let's dive right on in on today's topic. Today, we're going to talk about, are you letting them go or did you push them away? Think about it. Let that marinate for just a second. Are you letting them go or did you push them away? You know, it never ceases to amaze me how people, you hear sermons all the time when people say, if they didn't stay with you, they weren't meant to be with you, that type thing. Or if they leave you, you weren't assigned to them anyway. Or let them go if they can't or if they won't stay. And absolutely, I get that for sure, because if there's somebody in your life that that should not be in your life, you need to let them go. Okay, you need to move on. And I get them, and I get those statements, but they have to be put in the proper context, in my opinion. So I'm saying that because I know I have been in situations where I felt like I was forced to walk away from that situation. I wanted to be in, and I'm going to speak more specifically right now about relationships. I really wanted to be in that relationship and I saw the potential in that relationship, but I felt like due to certain things, he forced my hand or he pushed me away to where I felt like I needed or we needed to end the relationship. I also know that there have been relationships where the person, they knew that I was good for them in their relationship, but they weren't ready. They just weren't ready. We weren't ready for the same things. We were in two different places in life. And I won't always say necessarily maturity levels, but they were ready. They weren't ready. We weren't on the same page. We were not aligned in next steps regarding a relationship and how we felt, the relationship should be handled and how we're supposed to treat each other. But this holds true even for any situation. If there was a job that you really loved and you were excited about it, but for some reason the people on the job literally forced you to have to leave. Church situations, where you felt like you were forced. Your heart may have been all in it and wanted to be there for whatever reasons, but you had to leave. And that's what I'm talking about when you are evaluating, are you letting them go or did they push you away? And again, I am talking more specifically about relationships, but you can think about this, about different situations in your life. And, I believe that most people use the statements that I just named about, if the person leaves you, they weren't meant to be, they weren't destined to be with you. Those can sometimes be used as cop-out phrases. That's what I like to call them. I call them cop-out phrases because they use them to justify their lack of willingness to change. Okay? They do not want to change what they're doing for whatever reasons. So they try to, make it seem like, well, yeah, I had to leave them, or, I had to let them go. When really, in actuality, you pushed that person away because you didn't want to change. And it's easy to say, hey, she left me, or, I left them, or, all those things because of this, that, and the third. than it is to admit that you forced a person's hand to do something. I know of several relationships of people around me where, they ended up having to end their relationship because the person just didn't want to change. And I'm not saying they did not play a role in it. I'm not saying that. But in any relationship, it takes two. One person can't want it more than the other. Both people have to want the relationship equally as much. Okay, because it's not going to work and it's not going to last if only one person is trying to really push to keep the relationship together. Again, both people have to want the relationship. Okay, and are you mature enough, or are you willing to be, get to a place of maturity to acknowledge that to say that, hey, it was me, it wasn't them. Okay, it was me. You have to be able to acknowledge that and acknowledge that, maybe this person was supposed to be in my life. Maybe, they were good for me, but I chose to push them away. Okay, I chose to, people have come back and said to me, I have had people that I've dated in the past to say to me, I know you were good for me. I know you were good for me, but, they didn't say the words, I pushed you away, but we ended up not being together because I wasn't ready. I wasn't mature enough. And I know my life would be different. My life would be better, had I buckled down or did whatever it was that I needed to do for us to be in that relationship. Now, for me, I'm grateful because there was only so much that I was going to put up with before I made the decision to walk away or whatever. But understanding, I do want to say that, you have to give it your all. If you're in a relationship, you have to give it your all. I've always been of the mindset, I'm going to do everything that I can to try to make the relationship work. Because when I do have to walk away, I know it's a decision that I can make without going back. Okay. It's like, I know I've done everything I know to do to make this thing work, but because of whatever it is, think about whatever it is, for whatever reason, I cannot deal with this. So I have to walk away because that person did not want to make the needed adjustments. They didn't want to do it. And you can't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do, because you don't want to force anybody to, especially in a love relationship. I don't want to force you to love me. I don't want to force you to want to be around me. I don't want to force you to spend time with me. I don't want to force you to be kind to me. Those should be natural things that come in a love relationship. So when those things are not happening, those things that you desire are not happening, you are pushing the person away. You are pushing them away. And so, but I will say there's always hope, even in those situations where there is a person that man, we could have been this power couple. We could have, I saw so much potential in him. I saw so much potential in her. Man, we could have made each other go higher and higher, further and further, and it didn't work. And sometimes you may think, man, will I ever get another opportunity? Or man, will this person, come back and realize the error of their ways, And maybe not, but I thank God for one of my life scriptures, which is Romans 8:28. All things work together for the good of those who love God and are the called according to his purpose. So even when things or relationships don't work out the way that you desire, because you have been pushed away, God will make those things, he will work those things out for the good. There people, they go back and forth about God's perfect will versus God's permissive will. I believe there's God's perfect will and God's permissive will, but at the end of the day, it becomes God's perfect will because it's not a surprise to God what decisions that we're going to make. But we have, because as free will agents, we can make decisions, our own choices, our own decisions. So, we can choose this path or choose that path. It is my desire to be in God's perfect will, but I haven't always made the best decisions, just as you have not always made the best decisions. And God's permissive will comes in, but he brings it back when we come back into obedience to him. We get back on that perfect will. So that's why Romans 8:28 is such a powerful scripture that I have held on to throughout my life, because all things work together for the good of them who love God. You got to love God now. You got to love God. And are the called according to his purpose, not my purpose and what I think, but what God's purpose is. So just understanding that even though that relationship, maybe that you felt like, man, this was my soulmate. You know, I thought this was my soulmate, that even if that person ends up not being your soulmate as you thought, God brings it back around to make it work out for your good. You know, and also, you have to also consider, if you're that person who was saying, yeah, I had to leave them, you know, they not in my life, when they're all adamant, if you're really, really adamant about stuff like that, you know, and I, especially if I'm listening to somebody who's, you know, saying those things, yeah, I had to let them go, you know, they're not this and they're not that, and I had to let them go, and already in my mind, I'm thinking about, okay, why are you so adamant about, you know, they ain't connected to my future, all this and that. But I started thinking about, there's still another side to that story. Now I hear your side, and I'm not negating what you're saying, but there is another side to that story. And sometimes I wonder, did you leave them? Or did you push them away? Did you force their hand and push them away? You know, there's two sides to every story. Well, people say three. You know, his, hers, and the truth. Mine, yours, and the truth. But, you know, and I don't disagree with that. You know, another saying that old people say, no matter how thin the butter is sliced, there's always another side. All right? So you have to be able to see both sides to better understand where a person is coming from based on whether they let somebody go, or, as we say, quit them versus them pushing somebody away. And so think about your last relationship, or the relationship that you're even currently in, you may be in. Are you blaming the wrong person for why the relationship ended, or why it may be ending? All right. Did you push someone away that could have really, really been good for you? You know, you could have pushed somebody away that was really, I mean, God really could have sent that person in your life for them to make you who you needed to be. But because you didn't prepare yourself, and because you are still dealing with your unresolved issues and your fear and those traumatic places and that immaturity, you ended up pushing them away. Okay, you ended up pushing them away. So think about that, and quit making excuses. You know, you can't make excuses about everything. You can't have a cop-out story and a cop-out phrase for everything. You have to accept accountability for your actions as well. It's not always somebody else who's causing situations, or you may need to just really understand that it is you. It's you. You're the problem sometimes. You're sometimes the problem, and why you can't keep people connected to you who could really help you along the way, who could really help push that potential that is within you, the potential that they probably even see in you, but for whatever reason, you are unable to, you know, move like you need to move in order to make that relationship work. So think about that. Quit making excuses and placing blame in the wrong places, okay? Let's not do that, y'all. Let's be adults. You know, young people, there's some young people, teenagers, whoever you are watching me, take accountability early in life so that you will not have to deal with so many things in your adulthood because you haven't dealt with it in your childhood, okay? Start to take accountability for your actions and understand that it's not always somebody else's fault or some other outside force that's causing you to not be successful or not to have strong relationships in your life. You know, people who you know in your heart of hearts that are good for you and can be there for you, but you push them away. All right? Evaluate that situation and really see if you are the problem. Okay? All right, y'all. Thank you so much again for watching on today. That's going to be all I'm talking about on today. I kind of went light on you. I've been having some long videos here lately, but I wanted to make sure I got right to the point on today. So ask yourself, are you letting them go, or did you push them away? All right? Let's go deeper, deeper, deeper. Thank you so much again for joining me for another episode of O to Be Whole. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment. And again, if you want to connect with me, reach out to me at ohtobewhole@gmail.com. And I look forward to seeing you next time. All right. God bless.